Hi Sagittarius, this is your mid-March 2019 reading. Sagittarius, as we have been discussing in the last couple of videos since December of last year, you had your ruling planet Jupiter enter your sign. That is a start of a new expansive cycle, a new 12-year cycle which is happening, which is a rebirth of your identity. Now, as a part of that, we have Pluto and South Node coming together at the start of April in your house of resources, because we are modifying the way we make money, the way we create resources, the kind of talents that yield results to us, the kind of talents that yield resources to us, they are getting modified. And there's a release of the old, release of a hindrance, release of a lack of faith in our own future that is released when Pluto and South Node come together. And that happens through pressure events, it happens through certain karmic events, it happens through us deciding that we need to take the leap, we need to go to the other end, we need to create this rebirth of earnings, this unplugging of self-worth, of net worth that is happening, and confront the limitations, the very limitations which are deep-seated in our psyche, in our belief system, in our foundations, that needs to be de-seated for us to move forward. And something unplugs, and the forward movement in terms of your resources, in terms of your talents, in terms of getting the true worth of your talents, that starts happening as a part of that transit. And you'll start feeling that transit from the middle of this month itself. And this energy is complemented by the other two long-standing transits, one of which is Uranus is entering Taurus this month for the next 7 years. Uranus is here to innovate, to create freedom, to create even some amount of restlessness and brilliance in terms of how you do your work, your day-to-day routines, your day-to-day work environment, your day-to-day way of working gets modified, gets accelerated, gets hit with a stick of brilliance to some extent to create something new. You want to create something which is more forward-looking, which is more innovative than what you have done before. There is almost a nervousness and a restlessness to move forward quickly with what you want to achieve right now, and that helps you break free. That helps you break free from any limitations that you might have imposed on your own self by not believing in your talents. And the third long-standing transit is that Mercury goes retrograde this month in your house of security. It asks us to review your positioning in terms of what is not filling your cup, what is not making you feel stable, what is not making you feel comfortable right now to move forward and take a risk on your talents. And that gives you an epiphany moment, a eureka moment, a realization, a viewpoint that you did not see before about your own sense of security. So these are three long-standing transits which I'll talk about in detail in the details section of the video. We also have a beautiful full moon at the end of the month which is happening in your house of resources. It's happening with the ruler of that full moon meeting Jupiter in your sign. So it's a very beneficial, very positive, very, very confident and positive full moon which is happening in your house of vision, in your house of resources, in your house of big wealth, in your house of your standing in the society that you're part of, or the friendship network that you're part of. It increases who and what you're looked up as. And that infuses a completely new energy into you, and that comes with the time when spring is starting and the season is changing, and Aries season, which is a season that is full of joy for you, begins, because it's a fire sign. It complements your energy. So you see a return of energy, you see a return of positivity, you see a return of forward movement with that energy coming through, and things start getting accelerated forward in your personal life as well as in your professional life with that. So let's dig into the details of things. I again want to apologize for delaying the reading this month, but I had no choice but to do these readings later, but not in February. So I hope you enjoy the first part of the video, which is more focused on the long-standing transits which extend beyond March for you, and they are something to come back to during the course of the year itself. So I'll dig into the details now. I'll leave timestamps as usual for you to come back to this reading again and again during the course of the year, especially the Uranus and Taurus portion is for next 7 years, so you can come back to it and refer to it later in the year as well. Let's dig in. The first key transit that I want to talk to you about is Uranus is entering Taurus this month, and it will stay there for the next 7 years from 6th of March 2019 all the way to 27th of April 2020. But when a planet which is slow moving like that, which takes 84 years to come back to a sign, comes and changes sign, we feel the shift immediately. We feel the shift in our immediate environment. We feel the shift in our psyche, because it's a distant planet, it's a social planet. So the fabric around us and the environment around us and the mentality around us shifts with that, and that influences us deeply. And Uranus is entering your house of work, your house of health. It creates an urgency to break free from routines. It creates an urgency to break free from any fixity that is holding your identity back in terms of what you do. So there's some amount of irregularity that comes in schedules with that. You do not want to stick to 9 to 5 when that happens. You do not want to be confined in a room and work when that happens. There's an unconventional way of functioning that gets embedded in our psyche, and we want to execute that on a day-to-day basis. We want to create something which is beyond our current environment, which is beyond conventional. There's a freedom of expression which is sought, and there's a need to break free from any kind of authority that suppresses our innovation, that suppresses our individuality, that suppresses our brilliance to some extent, that oozes out in our work when we try to perform that. And working under the authority becomes a little bit difficult at this point in time. It becomes difficult to take orders from somebody. It becomes difficult to sort of follow a set path which is set out by somebody else. But Uranus is entering Taurus. Taurus is a stable sign. It is a very fixed sign. It is a material sign. So there is a way of doing things when Uranus is in Taurus. When Uranus is in Taurus, individuality is favored, but impatience and lack of planning is not. So the end results have to be practical and tangible for Uranus and Taurus to work out for you in terms of your career. And that is very, very important. It is very much encouraged to follow your own path here, follow your own routine, even create certain innovative, unconventional working hours if that sort of suits you. Do something that stimulates you. Create a new office space for you, and create an unconventional office space for you. But from the end perspective, what you're working on, it has to be something tangible. It has to be something that has monetary impact, has material impact on the world. And you're looking to create something that might be related to a forward-looking technology. It could be a new technology, it could be in field of medicine, it could be something unconventional and innovative which does not exist right now, because this transit favors innovating something in whichever field you are. We are all not scientists. We are not all going to be scientists, but there's an innovation which is possible in each of our day-to-day routines, in our work. And that is what this transit asks for. It asks for variety, it asks for stimulation, it asks for progressive thinking for you to be successful, and freedom of expression. Need to be individual, need to work on your own a little bit. If you're working in a team environment, this can be a little bit challenging, because you'll want to break free from meeting everybody on a regular basis. Or you may even want some distance from the co-workers, like working in isolation a little bit. You will not be able to take people telling you how to do your job, for example, and you don't want to be under an authority and to some extent become authority over other people as well. But if you are an authority figure, or if you are under an authority figure, there are ways to function with this energy productively, which is to innovate your current work. You might feel a little bit wired up, so use up this energy, work out, do something which is productive out of this energy, create new ideas, find an outburst for this explosion of creativity that you're going to feel within your psyche. And find something which is, if you're not able to do it in your work, find something outside your work that you can do which has an outlet to this creativity. You have to brainstorm the ideas that are coming through to you. You have to brainstorm and give an outlet to the brilliance that is coming through you, and you will get these flashes of brilliance in terms of what more can you do in the service industry, in the industry that you are part of, and organize the innovation. Create a structure around it, record it, note it down, do something of it, or hire somebody who can help you create a structure around this. If you have people who work under you, you may not be able to sit and have a regular dialogue or have them around you all the time. So schedule some time with them. Schedule the time which is more productive. You will not be able to take mundane time anymore with people. You need like exciting ideas, when like brainstorming ideas. When that happens, a creative leadership is called for. So, and it rules your third house. Uranus rules your third house, which is a very, very busy house, which makes for a very, very busy mind. So the mind will feel that it's always full of new ideas, always full of things to do, and this might lead to feeling too wired, and even the energy might come and go in spurts because of that. So use the energy when you can, but do not burn out in this process, because what will happen is that suddenly Uranus rules electricity. So it's like waves of electricity. The energy comes in waves. You suddenly feel very electrified to do something, and then the switch goes a little bit down and you need to take time for yourself, and that is fine. Just don't stay on one thing. Don't expect yourself to be doing the same subject for a long time, because that will not be productive for you. Create 2 or 3 projects that you're working on and distribute your time between them. Create an outcome out of those projects, yes. Create a plan out of those projects. Do not stick the whole day, the whole month, the whole week with one project, for example. Create a variety in your schedule. And that's the way to create value out of this transit. It's a very meaningful transit. I've just had it for the last 7 years. But of course, it's more effective when it's on your ascendant, on the exact degree where your ascendant, sun or moon is. But when a slow-moving planet just moves into your sign, something unlocks. Something just unlocks. You feel the restlessness. You feel this nervous energy, this positive nervous energy to get away from the old and propel into something innovative. An organized innovation is in order. A creative leadership is in order. Some sort of innovation and some sort of discovery is in order of your talents. And they get used in a productive way. They get used in a positive way. And to some extent, from a health perspective, alternative healing methods come more of use at this point in time, and you have to be a little bit careful of health in terms of the nervous energy being high. When the nervous energy is high, we resonate at a much higher frequency, which is great for innovation, but you have to think about what's happening to your body as a result of this nervy energy. So using alternative health therapies under the guidance of certified people, for example, acupuncture, yoga, meditation, working out, doing something which sort of normalizes the electricity that flows through our body as a result of this transit, as a result of the stimulation, and you can feel it in your body. This is not something that is psychological only. You can feel it in your body. The restlessness, not being able to sit down, seeking freedom, freedom in expression, not taking somebody is telling you, you have to do this, you have to do this, there's nothing else you can do. That kind of an attitude starts irking us. It starts irritating us because there's something inside us which is nervous, restless to get out, to do something, to make a point, to create something that has not been created before. And that restlessness needs to be given an outcome. Otherwise, it stays within the body, and that's not great for the body. The suppression of resentment and anger or emotions within your body will not serve you well during this time. It has to find an outlet. You have to speak up. And you just have to be careful, because in this transit, we sometimes speak up too much, because Uranus is transiting your third house. So there is a tendency to be too direct sometimes, to be too verbal sometimes. So being careful of that, and that is not your regular. This is an exaggeration of your regular way of dealing with people. So you might become way too forthright for people. Being a little bit careful. It doesn't happen to everybody, but Uranus does influence your speech. So it influences the way you interact with other people, which is great, because it will add to your already outgoing nature. And that is a positive. You'll find new ways of connecting with people. You'll find new audience for your art, for example, or for the presentations that you're doing. You'll find new ways and more more confidence in doing those presentations, more frequency of interacting with people, but being careful on what's being said a little bit, because there's freedom and then there is too much freedom. Sometimes it happened to me, so I'm just telling you what happened with me. And then we have other forms of recovering. For example, if there's a health issue that has been there, some sort of health issue, you find new ways of dealing with it. You find innovative ways of dealing with it. It could be a non-allopathy solution, for example, using a diet shift, using a shift in what you eat completely. Like some people sometimes leave a certain type of food, become vegan or something. I'm not saying you should, but a radical change in diet happens sometimes as a result of this for health reasons, because we discover there are things that we could do which are natural, which might help our health in longer period of time. So those kind of things are great to look out for. And if there's any health issue that might come up during this time, it could be because of adrenal fatigue. So being careful that we are giving ourselves the restful moments mentally, especially at this point in time, to recover from the high intensity of thinking and high intensity of vibration that's happening. And the healing is equally quick in this, and to some extent unexplained. We sometimes have some issue which usually arises because of stress. Most of the issues in this transit, they come because of feeling stressed and wired, because our body gets more sensitive to that. So and they surprisingly go away. Just keep a downtime for yourself and institute a practice that will help you from a health perspective during this period. So this is Uranus and Taurus. I'm sorry it took a long time to do this, but it's important beyond March. This is the next 7 years for us. So I'm looking forward to you coming up with a new way of functioning, a new service, a new industry innovation that is coming through from Sagittarius, especially with Jupiter in your sign. Your spare of your outlook in life and the way you look at the frame from which you're looking at your life has expanded. So there's much more you can do versus what you did previously. Let's dig into the second transit now. The second key transit is that Pluto and South Node are coming together around 4th or 5th of April, and they will have an impact on you from middle of March all the way to April. Now Pluto is sitting in your house of resources, your self-worth, your network. You're looking at a rebirth of the way you earn money as a part of that, as well as the kind of talents by which you earn money. They will shift with Pluto in this house, and this is a long-standing transit, but when Pluto combines together with the node of the moon, which is South Node, it releases. There's a karma that gets burned off. There's an old way of being, an old way of earning money, an old ideology, belief system about ourselves that is released, and there is a confrontation of limitations that happens to remove that limitation. And this is not a small limitation. This is well embedded in our psyche, because the South Node of the moon is something that we bring with us from birth, some ideology that has been with us for a long time that needs to be dug deep into and rooted from its seed itself for you to move forward. What can I earn? What am I worth? What do I use in terms of my innate talents to be worth more? These kind of ideologies which block our progress, which stop us from becoming who we truly want to be. The strength to go to the other side, that comes by releasing these limiting self-beliefs. And there is a deep and powerful revoking of a self-belief of limitation that is released very, very powerfully. And because of South Node involved here, there could be a karmic event which sort of pushes you into it, which pushes you to say something, which asks you to unplug something that is stopping you. And this leads to more financial security down the line, because you're fighting for your financial security. You're fighting to sort of reevaluate what your true self-worth and net worth is. And in order to achieve power in your belief, power in your talents, beliefs, and overall physical resources, the first thing that happens is that we need to release the limited beliefs that we might have. And there's a closure which happens. There might be a significant issue, actual resource issue. It could be an expense, it could be somewhere where the resources are under dispute, it could be some sort of a financial obligation which is stuck, there could be a joint financial situation which is stuck, there could be a closure of an actual asset, a resource which is not coming to fruition, which is not coming into your ownership. There could be a property ownership, there could be a resource ownership, a resource shift which comes in your favor by you getting over yourself, by you getting over your own limiting belief about what you truly deserve. And to some extent, our own value system shifts with it, because we are sort of getting rid of our old way of thinking. When we come here, there's an old way of belief that my talent, this is what my talents are, and this is how far they can get us. And Pluto comes and says, no, this is not how far it will get you. It can get you much further, but the sacrifice is to give up your own self-imposed boundaries of not talking, not saying things, not asking for what you deserve, not closing the old ties, the addictive ties that are holding you back. There could be ties of some kind of expenses that we like, some kind of resources we are wasting our money on, some kind of an expense sink which we don't realize it's there, and it needs to be let go, some sort of addiction to something even, which needs to be released for us to move to the next level. Because this is a detox, this is a cord cutting, this is a detox of our resources, of what we consume to feel valuable. It could be a diet resource that we consume which makes us feel happy for the time being, but it's not serving us well in the long run. And with Jupiter in the first, we tend to overindulge in some things, and Pluto just comes and cuts us off. It gives us the power to just cut something out of our life, which is a sinking hole for us, which is a sinking hole of your energy, of your resources, of your worth right now, and just cuts you off from there. And there is a new life ahead of that. There's a new foundation of your resources that are getting created, because Saturn is sitting in your house of resources. Saturn comes in your house of resources only once in 29 years to create a new way of making money, which is more stable, a new self-worth which will get you further than where you have ever been, because it brings the next level of maturity in the way we earn our resources, in the way we derive value out of our talents, in the way we exhibit our talents to get more value out of them. So all of that is changed and transformed with Saturn there, and Saturn is there till next year in your house of resources. It has taken on the task to reform, to create new boundaries, to make you work hard on it, to sort of burn your karma over there, so you create the resources that last you for a long time. Talents that serve you for a long time, a financial security that serves you for a long time. There's a stable base that's being created for you in terms of your resources, and for that, some way of thinking, some way of spending, some way of earning money, some way of the financial resources, the way you keep the financial resources, the way you get your financial ownership. All of those things have to change, and something has to be unplugged for you to move to the next level. And there'll be events which will happen as a run up to that, as a run up to this 4th or 5th of April transit, which will release you, which will confront the limitations and set you free. And this is a beautiful transit at it, and it doesn't happen often. This is a very rare transit. This is the first time ever in our lifetime that we have Saturn, Pluto and South Node together in your house of resources. So you'll see a growth over the course of next 1.5 years like never before, because this is just the start. This is the first time they're coming together, and this is just a sampler you'll get. This is just a sampler because there's an exact conjunction of these three which is happening in 2020, which is the rarest of all. And Jupiter, your ruling planet, in December will move into your house of resources as well, to expand it further, to create more awareness of it, to create luck over there, to create abundance in the way you earn money. So this is just a sampler of first you releasing something so you can get to all of that, to get to all of those things. And the full moon that is happening on 20th of this month, I feel it will give you a vision for it. It will give you a clarity on what is missing. More importantly, the Mercury retrograde this month, which is giving you the time to change your mind in how you feel secure, that will give you more information on this. So this is happening in April, but we start feeling it from the middle of this month. Now let's go on to the third key transit. The third key transit is that Mercury this month is going retrograde. I spoke about it in a separate video in detail as well, but for you specifically, it is going retrograde in your house of home and family and emotional foundations. So there's something in your foundation, something in your physical home or your family life that might be under renegotiation or reconsideration this month. Normally, when Mercury goes retrograde, it shows a different side, a different viewpoint that we have been missing so far, and it does that by making things a little bit restless, a little bit different. It shakes up the things a little bit, so we see the reality of what's happening. We see further than what we would normally in our home and family life. This could be as a result of something happening in your physical home which requires your attention. It could be redecoration, renegotiation of lease, or if you own a property, some sort of repair in that property, or maybe you're looking and reviewing a new asset that you want to acquire, a fixed asset. It could be a property, it could be a fixed asset that you want to acquire which is of significant cost, which you are which is under reconsideration this time. On a physical level, you could choose to release clutter at this point in time, because this is a transit of as above as below, as above so below. So the external life manifests how your home, family and personal life is. So there is a detox of your personal life which happens through rethinking, through redecoration, through decluttering, through reconnecting with your family, which gives you a more solid foundation, a more stable foundation for you to go out in the world and manifest your career. So there is a relationship with parents or relationship with your home and family, a reconnection which happens at the start of the month, which gives you certain different thought processes, certain other thinking in terms of how to proceed further. It brings something to notice that you were missing in terms of longevity of your foundations, in terms of how you want to refurbish your foundations going forward. How do you want to feel secure going forward? What kind of family you want going forward? What kind of values you want to instill in your family? What kind of family structure you want to live in going forward? What kind of place of living you want to live in? What makes you feel secure in your inner world, in your foundations, in your family life, in your home of living, in terms of a stability, in terms of receiving and giving love, in terms of the peace, in terms of where you live. So your inner world comes into focus with this, and this is not an easy energy because it's squaring you. So there is some amount of jarring energy, even a over emotional energy that comes through to test how we react to that stimulus. Because when a Mercury retrograde happens in a water sign, our emotional responses to stimulus that happen in our personal life are tested. We are tested because every retrograde is a growth period. It is a period when we are asked to stand still in that area of our life, just review our progress so far in our home and family and personal life, and then proceed further. After we have learned the lesson of that retrograde, after we have taken the growth factors that are coming through in that part of our life. So here your foundations are a little bit tested, your security is a little bit tested, your home and family peace could be a little bit tested, so you can look at how to proceed forward. What kind of stability, security you want to provide for yourself and your family in your current situation? Is it a solid ground on which you're standing? Is it something that you want for your future? What changes need to be done in it so you can create more security for you and for your family? Who or what you can rely on? Who or what you want to rely on going forward? And there might be some old patterns that come into consideration or reconsideration during this time, some old dependency, old relationships, old grounding that comes for reconsideration at this point in time, old relatives, old place of living, family house, parents. All of these relationships come into reconsideration at this point in time on how you want to move forward with it. And this is especially true if you have planets between 16 to 30 degrees of Sagittarius, which means if you're born between 10th of December to 22nd or 23rd of December, you'll feel this energy very, very strongly. Especially if you're born around 10th of December or 22nd or 23rd of December, because Mercury will station at these 2 points, there is an old structure, an old way that you have been seeking security, an old way in which your inner foundations have been set, that needs to be changed. Because when Mercury stations retrograde on the last degree of the zodiac, there is an old mold, an old archetype of family that gets broken, that gets dissolved, and a new structure emerges out of that. A new structure, a new archetype, a new cycle of family, a new way of living with your family, a new way of connecting with your family, a new way of achieving security in your day-to-day life, and what you derive security out of when your outer world is changing so much, your career is changing so much, your resources are changing so much. What do you rely on? What is the stable core on which you rely on? And beautiful thing is that you are a flexible sign. You move in the way the energy changes. So you are able to change yourself. You're not a fixed sign. You change with how the things are changing, which makes this an easier transition, which makes this a time of transition from one phase to another. Even though in this time it might feel physically difficult, because you are making an effort which is taxing your physical strength. When Mercury squares our sun or our ascendant, we feel that there is way too much which is asked out of us emotionally from different quarters. And when we are being asked for too much, we feel a little bit physically drained at this point in time, especially if you have planets around 16 degree of Sagittarius, or if you're born around 10th of December, even 8th or 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th to 16 degree of Sagittarius, you feel it very strongly because Neptune is squaring you too. It dissolves our old structure, our old way of family structure, and creates a new one, a higher one, a more spiritual one, a more fulfilling one for you, the one that will go further with you in the new life that you're entering into. And this could unfortunately mean sometimes that the old structure has to be let go, or the old place of living has to be let go, or the old way of being in a family structure needs to be changed and modified for us to be more fulfilled. And that comes through this mutable season of changing things in your emotional foundation to make you feel more secure and fulfilled. And then the people who are with you, and the things in your house that are with you, and the place of living that is with you, that goes to fulfill you further, to support you in this new journey that you're embarking upon. So that is a energy that jives well with everything else that's happening in your life right now. So that's the third key transit. And now let's dig into the details of the rest of the month. So this is the week and the part of the month from 14th of this month when I feel that the tide starts changing. We start finding solutions of the issues we might be facing in our home and family. Also the forward-looking outlook of what we need to do in terms of reclaim our power, in terms of our resources, in terms of our talents, in terms of how we want to make money going forward. Those epiphanies and realization come around this time, and we start acting in our full power. Especially 13th and 16th of this month are very, very powerful in terms of the conversations that you will have. In fact, 16th of this month is if I can dare to call it, it's a lucky communication month. There is an important piece of information that comes through, especially if you're born around 14th of December, if you're a Sagittarius sun, or if you have planets around 22 or 23 degree of Sagittarius, even from 18 to 24 degrees. So from 10th to 16th December born Sagittarius, you'll feel the Jupiter and the Pluto energy very, very strong between 13th and 16th of this month. There's a powerful action and steady action that comes out of certain realization. It's like a missing piece of information that comes through around 14th of this month. And this could be through a partner, this could be through a financial institute, it could be through your own realization, but something clicks and the forward movement begins. And that's from where you start claiming your power. And what we spoke about in the Pluto South Node section of the reading, something unplugs for you to move forward and claim your true worth. That begins, and you start working, making changes in terms of your career, in terms of your day-to-day routines, in terms of how you relate to your co-workers. All of that starts changing in a very powerful way. And that is from where on 20th of the month, when Mars and Pluto are meeting each other, which is a very, very powerful combination in terms of your home, in terms of your work in terms of your career, in terms of your resources. It's a very powerful combination. You're asking for your true worth here. On the same day, we have Sun moving into your fellow fire sign, which fires you up in a positive way, physically, mentally, psychologically. It creates more positivity, more risk-taking capability, more ability to do things that are based on your confidence, on your innate talents. And you start getting fired up from 20th of this month all the way till next month to create more value for yourself, to work on your creative ventures, to work on your business initiatives, to work on something that is based on your individuality. On the same day, we have a beautiful full moon which is happening in your house of vision. There's a light that is thrown on a vision which is coming to some physical form. It could be something that you've been working on for the last 6 months, which is coming to some sort of form and shape. Some first sign of success comes through of something that you might have started almost 6 months back, and that gives you a forward moment. That gives you a moment of realization that the direction in which you're going is right, because the ruler of that full moon is meeting your ruler, Jupiter. There's a lucky combination which happens with Venus and Jupiter meeting each other on 21st of this month, and they give you an epiphany of something that is working out. And it's working out commercially, it's working out in the way it could be a project that on which you've been working on, and there's a commercial success that comes through of it, or at the very least a recognition of your efforts, a recognition in terms of your business network that you're part of, in terms of what you're doing, your social standing, your business standing, that gets recognized in some way in a positive manner on 20th or 21st of this month, and that gives you the boost forward. That further fires you up for more, and there's a hunger for more. And I'll just warn on one thing this month, which is that when Mercury is retrograde, few things should not be signed. A new contract should not be signed, or if you have to sign it, it should have the clauses ideally for you to revise the text of it, because we are operating on a different plane. Our right brain is working and functioning and being focused on more than our left brain. So the creativity is working more than the facts, the figures, the details, the small text in the agreements and so forth. So this is not the month to sign a new client or sign a new agreement, at least till 1st of April. Maybe on April Fool's Day we sign them, but I'm sorry, I'm just joking. But yeah, I mean, after the end of this month, instead of this month, if you can delay, but life doesn't stop for anybody. So if you have to sign something, do it with the clauses embedded, with somebody reviewing it 2 or 3 times, maybe somebody who's experienced in your field reviewing it 2 or 3 times. And similarly, if a big fixed asset purchase, it's a great time to repair things in your house. It is a great time to repair your vehicle, your car. It is a great time to refurbish them, but it's not a good time to buy a new car or buy a new house or sign a new lease. It's a better time to renegotiate all of these things and then sign them up in April, but not now. So some sort of commercial success should come through, in my viewpoint, in your house of work, and there's a lot of passion involved with it. There was a lot of investment in it. You feel very, very compelled to succeed in this area of your life, and that comes through. This is happening at 0 degree Libra, which is represented in symbolic astrology as a chase of a beautiful dream, a very idealistic outcome of something that you've been dreaming about. A degree of perfect form is there in this culmination. So there's beauty to it all, there's inspiration to it all, there's a positivity to it all, because this full moon agrees with you. It's in positive energy with you. Then on 24th of this month, Mercury and Neptune come together in your house of home and family. This sort of creates even more positive energy in your house and home and family. It's a very inspiring, very subtle, yet emotionally uplifting energy that comes through in your home and family. Maybe a home matter or a family matter resolves itself, or you realize something, or you figure out how to move forward, or there's a convincing of sort and a resolution that comes through, a healing comes through in your home and family around 24th of this month. Then on 26th of this month, Venus moves into your home and family. That is further excellent for your home and family. It's excellent for love. It is excellent for moving forward in your family, because Uranus is making an aspect with it. So some new ideas of improvement in your home and family life, or in your personal life, it comes through. Some new ideas are coming through which you will implement in April. Then on 28th of this month, finally Mercury, the planet of communication, it starts moving direct. Things start moving in a positive direction. On 31st of this month, Mars moves into your opposite sign, Gemini, and we'll be focused on forging new partnerships, forging new client contracts, creating new strides in terms of our creativity next month, and creating more value out of our talents, which is the theme of April essentially. So let's go very, very positively into April. It's a beautiful change of season. It is a beautiful change of energy for you, especially towards the end of the month, after 20th of this month. If you keep the lessons that Mercury retrograde is bringing with it, which is about your home and family and your security, this month and the rest of the month will go very, very smoothly. So good luck for that, and I'll see you in April. Thank you.